Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells it all regarding family court, other court issues, as well as CPS. I am your host, Maryann Petri. You can find me, my books, and blogs on dismantlingfamilycourtcorruption.com, as well as on Amazon. And my books are now in audio. I have a return guest. I'm happy to have Marineka Bowman on from Delaware. She was last on season 3, episodes 104, 131, 159, 160, 174, 184, season 4, episodes 22, 48, and 61, season 5, episodes 149, 210, 238, 248, and 254. And I've been following her case closely. We have an update as her child is being weaponized in the court system. So I welcome you, Marineka Bowman, and her grandmother, the child's grandmother. I welcome you both.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Maryann.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna go first.
Mhm.
So, like in the last podcast that we did, we was awaiting the counselor. I think the last podcast we did with the counselor, the judge was waiting for the counselor's decision before she can decide to give me unsupervised visit. That counseling never completed because the counselor, quote unquote, claimed that she quit, move on. So the decision finally came 2 days ago. 2 days ago. I think this is about 12 pages of a court order. So they went all the way back from 2018 to give a history, I guess, to justify the decision that they make for this recent court hearing that we had on February 7, 2025. If a court have to go all the way back to 2018 to list a history to justify why you're not going to give a parent a child, that shows a lot of incompetency on the court behalf, or a lack of, you don't care about the child, or you don't want to do anything. And in this case, in my opinion, Judge Natalie Haskins had no intention. She pretended like she cared and she wanted to move forward in a positive way with this case. But from this decision showed me clearly that she had no interest in moving forward in a positive way. Because why would you go back all the way from 2018? Why not from the last 6 months? What about the last 3 months? What about the last month? To say, okay, mom was on drugs or mom did something off the wall. That's why, I don't feel comfortable. You don't have nothing to say to substantiate why you make the decision that you make, that I can't have my child at supervised visit that was already being done for a year, over a year, to continue. So I'm gonna read off what she and then they quote two laws that they quote from Delaware State. The title 13729, title 13729, which reads, an order concerning visitation may be modified at the time of the best interest of the child. So they're going off the best interest of the child.
Like they know.
So, and then title 13728. 728. So this is this will determine joint sole custody with which parent the child shall primarily reside. Schedule visitation with the other parent consistent with the child's best interest and maturity, which designed to permit, people can go back online because all these codes, you can find them on Google. And they also use Delaware Chapter 13, 722. The best wishes of the child, I guess, best interest, the wishes of the child, parents, and residential arrangement, the child's wishes of the arrangement and stuff like that. Where the child want to live. I guess that's what the one to think. But what she forget to quote in her thing, because all of these laws that she quoted, don't substantiate the reason why, substantiate or properly support her reasoning for me not to get unsupervised visit. Because one of the reasons she said on top, mother's petition for visitation modification denied. 2, father shall continue to have sole custody. Mother is entitled to information regarding child education. In addition, mother is permitted to attend parent-teachers conference so as long the child is not present. So I could go to the parent-teacher conference if the child is not present. The court directed child school to provide mother with school logins, communication directly with child's teacher about the academics. However, mother does not have authority to make educational decisions. Mother does not have permission to make authority to make educational decisions. So I don't have a PhD or a master, so I can't make educational decisions for my child.
And you had pointed out in your last podcast that she can't even read, what was it, a second grade book?
Right. She can't even read. She's going in second grade September, and she was failing all of her classes. Let me fix my camera. All of her classes, they have like numbers from 1 to 4, and 1 is the child is performing below grade level, and most of her classes from kindergarten to first grade, she was performing below grade level until I speak up about it. So now, because I speak up about her education, her not performing in school, nor her not being able to read, now you block me that I can have a say so in my child's education, right? And I'm the one. All the time they take this child from me. She's going to second grade, don't know how to read, don't know, having issues with her maths and all of that stuff, decoding and all that stuff. She basically failed all her subjects in first grade and kindergarten. And that was okay with the school. That was okay with the father. The judge operated like she was concerned about the education, the education neglect. But now you're right that the mother is don't have no authority to things. So I guess I don't meet the educational standard of the judge.
Well, then I guess the judge doesn't care that your daughter's going to end up in low-paying job.
The devil is a liar. With that one.
Yeah.
So then it said the mother's visitation shall continue to be supervised at a visitation center consistent with the order prior to additional contact with the authorization of the therapist. Which therapist? The therapist says she quit. So which therapist? Which therapist is she talking about?
Right.
What is the name of the therapist? Is the child have a new therapist?
Like, do you have to call and say, okay, who's my therapist? I need to make an appointment.
I don't know. Right. Yeah. Who is the therapist? Because the last therapist you had, she quit before even finishing the sessions with me. The collaborative session which was originally with the court with me and my child, that never happened. But the therapist quit before that even happened. But I think that was all a plan though. So I don't know if it's the same therapist that claimed that she's quit, but she's still my daughter's therapist. So then she said, they claim that my child have fragile emotion. And all of this behaviors, right? She's so fragile emotionally, but she have me schedule once a month to have collaborative sessions with my daughter with the therapist. Who is the therapist? You don't know. Don't know if it's the same therapist. Is the father supposed to be looking for a new therapist?
Oh, he's not going to do that.
Is the father supposed to be looking for new? But all of this, if the judge making the order, right? All of this should be clarified and stated in this order. Since she know before she wrote this order that the therapist quit. So that should have been written in this order. Father has so much time to find a therapist. This is the name of the therapist. Mother, this is the information for the therapist. The therapy, you're going to start this and this day, this and this time. Nothing is written here as far as this therapy is concerned. Then with the emergency contact, because I guess I talk a lot about that. The father's not communicating. It's not I talk about it. All the information is on my Wizard app that he's not communicating.
Mm-hmm.
right? So if when she go to the emergency room, the father, if he so chooses, he could tell me 24 hours before the he's at the emergency room or 24 hours after. She just went to the emergency room this Saturday. For the last 2 months, my daughter was going to the emergency room for some women issues. I don't know what the hospital is doing, what type of test they're doing. If they're asking her why a child at her age is going so frequently to the emergency room for women issues.
Mm-hmm.
She's a child. That's what they need to find out. Unless they're waiting for something serious to happen to her before somebody step in.
Don't these doctors watch how many, this is all I'm hearing from other people, is that these doctors watch how many visits a parent has brought a child into the ER. And
So,
at some
so
point they
that's
make a phone call.
yeah. So that's what I'm going to talk about with that. So then with the interlocutory thing that we were talking about, she said that my what I mother failure to comply with the Supreme Court something. Why is this? This is the Supreme Court have nothing to do with this custody case. I take my child support case to the Supreme Court, not my
Mhm.
custody case. So the same, because I put the child support case into the file the child support case to be reviewed in the High Court. They cancel out. It cancel out, I guess, and I didn't comply with the 42 court rule 42 interlocutory thing that we were talking about. So that's what I'm getting from that.
Well, that's because you're a pro se and pro ses sometimes don't know what to file or they're not filing the right paper. It's not necessarily your fault. And they're supposed to be more lenient on a pro se as opposed to an attorney.
But I asked them before I asked the clerk at the Supreme Court before I filed the child support. She asked me if the case was closed. I said closed or dismissed. It was dismissed. My child support was dismissed. But I had the custody open. She never tell me because you had the custody, I have to wait till the custody closed before I do the child support. It's two different cases. But I did ask before filing it.
But you're allowed to modify during a child custody. I did. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, everybody. I'm not a lawyer, and there's no such thing as good legal advice. But I mean, I did it. I don't know. Is that different in Delaware?
I have no idea. Yes, apparently. Apparently.
I don't think she's, I mean, I seriously, I don't think that judge is right.
No, she needs to get off the bench. And
Yes.
I'm gonna say why. Because even with they went back all the way to 2018 to talk, but I wasn't involved in my child life for a whole year and all of that. So I'm gonna let the public know, in a way I was like kind of feeling a little annoyed, but I just sit down quietly and pray. And God said, the battle is mine. Don't worry with them. I got this. So
Mm-hmm.
that's it. But I need to let the public know. I need to let everybody know what they did. Why the same year that they keep harping on that I was missing from my child life, right? It's not like I wasn't going to visitation. My child still had visitation within that year. And I was at every visit
Mm-hmm.
from November 2022 all the way to now. So this is all a child's visitation complete.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind, every time when the court asks them to talk, I have a different date as to when the visit started. The visit started November 2022. So what happened during that year not even during that time when I stopped going to court? I was there for my life.
Mm-hmm.
You had people Mommy, how long you stayed with me? For 2 years?
Yes, around that.
Yeah,
Around
my
that.
mom stayed with me in Delaware for 2 years, right? I was followed everywhere I went. You had people coming to my house. Not only people, that police officer from Newcastle County was involved. Probably some of the same officers that Laura Brooks claimed, attorney Laura Brooks claimed. I'm calling when I'm done. Let me turn it. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. For that entire time that they keep harping that I was out my child, they were responsible for what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna let people know for almost 3 years, I was harassed at my home, gang stuck at my home. You had all these people in all these positions, from my daughter daycare, from Possum Road, Little Einstein. You had staff there that was already programmed how to deal with me. You have Tia Tucker at the Family Visitation Center. You have Lisa Kelly, I think this nurses at near Morris Hospital, and you had all different people that they recruited to paint this picture that I'm such a horrible mom and I have mental health issues and whatever else they have, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had somebody, this lady, you remember this? I'm going to try to block her phone number. I'm going to be nice and block her phone number because I can just very well put it online, but I'm not going to do that. I want to make sure. This woman, Cynthia Davis, you remember you get a phone call from her.
Mm-hmm.
She want to know where my
Mm-hmm.
what is my whereabouts. When this woman called me, told me if I turn up to court, I think I had court on December 5th of 2022. So she told me if I go to court, they're gonna tear me up in court and all of that. And I said I will report them to the Department of Justice and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She said if the Department of Justice come to review my case, they are gonna take out information. It's not like they're gonna give them the whole package. They're gonna take out what they want and give the Department of Justice what they don't want. But she was so fixated on if I was in Delaware or if I was in New York. I don't know this woman. She's not my friend. And for her to contact you to ask where I was or who put her up for it or what is the reasoning behind, I have no idea. But she was part of the gang stalking, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
These are pictures of different cars that's coming to my house. And all of these complaints was already put to Natalie Haskins, Delaware Supreme Court. So they already know all these people was coming to my house, right? But like the Newcastle County Police that came when I called once, he said he didn't care about all the other cars that was coming to my house. All he was concerned about is this black Jeep, this black truck. I don't know if you could see it. I think this vehicle is probably his vehicle. And he was just concerned about that black vehicle and this white car. I don't know if you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the two. He didn't care about the other vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
He did not care about the other vehicles that was coming to my house. He just cared about those. I think that vehicle belongs to him. The other white vehicle either belongs to Newcastle County, unmarked vehicle from Newcastle County, or at the time my ex-husband was working at DMV, this vehicle probably belongs to DMV of Delaware. So a lot of them were using the company vehicle to come to my home. This went on for 3 years, Mom. My mother was living with me, and she's gonna tell you how she feels, but I'm coming there. We couldn't go if we go to the park, we had people following us.
Mm-hmm.
We go to the supermarket, we had people following us. I can't tell you how many sleepless nights I had with this. I cannot tell you how many sleepless nights. They had so many cars like at my house, like I was selling drugs. I'm telling you. Some of these people, I don't even know them. I can't even tell you who was in some of those cars because a lot of the cars had tinted windows. And I said it over and over on the podcast. Over and over. You know how mentally nerve-wracking that was for that 3 years? It comes to a point that after 6, when the place gets dark, I do not go out. Even until now, I don't go out. If somebody's not coming with me, I don't go outside. It gets so bad that I wait till like if I want anything at the grocery store, my friend at the time, he was off on Tuesday from his job. I think it's Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So those are the times that I went to the supermarket. I would wait till he's off and he go to the supermarket with me, or I give him my list and let him bring whatever I needed. That's how bad that was. And I'm gonna give another thing. And this gang stalking start from, I think, in 2019, when Judge Natalie Haskins wrote her first order for my child to be picked up at my house, because originally we were picking up from the precinct. And when she put it to my house, I said, I live alone. I don't feel comfortable. And I don't feel comfortable with the dad coming to my house because he was telling so much lies, making so much false accusations. I said, I don't want him to come to my house. I'd rather go to the precinct and do the drop off there. She said, oh, Gavel, she's a judge. She can do whatever she wants. They started drop off at my house. He had his family members or whoever first drive by. I think I saw his cousin drive by first. Then he came to the house with his dad. Somebody else was in the back seat of the car that he was driving, but I couldn't see who the person was because it was covered with a blanket. Right? And my sister, unfortunately, she's on vacation right now. She could testify because I had my sister on video calls at the same time when all of this was going on. So my older sister could testify to that, what happened with that. So it started from there, and from there, it never stopped. Never stopped. There's not a time that we look outside. I had to go and get all type of cameras and put up in front around my home, inside out. Right?
Well, I mean, my ex was so cheap, he did not put up cameras. What he did was, you may die laughing hearing this. He had a picture window that he covered and wrapped in thick plastic because, I'm so dangerous. It looks so bad. Like his house was, it was a nice house, but he's got this picture window wrapped in plastic, heavy plastic. I'm like, what? I don't know what he was telling those kids. This is how this weird parental alienation starts, with installing fear into these kids. But continue.
Not even fear into the kids, into the person you gang stalking. But,
right.
Just get me rattled for a minute because I was like, first, I said to myself, I have to remind myself, I'm not, anyway, I get through off for a second. But yes, I've been blocked in my driveway, right? My daughter and my mom was on the window watching, right? When all of this, you have people blocking me into my own driveway, right? And that is not only males. They had females involved too. A lot of females was involved. They even have Laura Brooks went to my house too, right? Who goes to the client of the opposing party? Who goes to the house? Right. You have all type of people coming to my house. People that I don't even know. If they didn't know me, however they know, I don't even know what from these people. I don't know what was said to them that they feel like they had to come to my house. Sometimes you had like 60, 50 cars that passed and and they would stop. So I'm going to tell you another incident I had. I went to the store, and this was during the day. Like, it was bright outside. I saw these two guys follow me around in the store. I didn't know who they were. Like, I just had a gut feeling like something wasn't right. And something just tell me, just leave. So everything that I had, I just put it down. I put it down. So I can't say that they wanted what I was picking up. Because I put it down. I left. I didn't even join the cashier line. I didn't pay for anything. I leave it in the store. So I left. I went to my car, and then when I looked wrong, I thought I saw them coming behind me, but when I looked wrong, I didn't see them. Go into my car, and I start driving. So I started driving like if I was going straight, but there was like another street I could have just cut off. So once I cut off, and they thought for a second, they thought I was going straight. When they realized that I cut off on the side street, they jump in front of this, they cut off this woman that was in front of me to get into that street. I saw her startle. I saw everything, and I slowed down. I control myself, and I slowed down so I couldn't, avoid from colliding with her back. So I said, okay, interesting. So I keep driving. So I'm going home. I said, I'm going to see what they're up to, which I should have never gone home. That's the mistake I made. So I start driving on my way home. So I'm watching them in my rear view mirror. And I said, wait a minute. I thought you guys probably just want to rob me in the store thinking what I had, but what are you following me for? I said, okay, I'm already know if you're following me. So I start driving slow. I slow down. They slow down. I speed up, they sped up. slow down. I said, okay, once you do that, I know you're following me. You're really following me. You on a mission. You on a mission.
Right.
So
And
I drove into a cul-de-sac, and thank God I went through that cul-de-sac walking, because my daughter and I, we walked the neighborhood all the time. We did a lot of walking. And the day before, I went into that same cul-de-sac, and I was like, I said to my daughter, I was like, oh my God, how are we gonna get out of here? We have to walk all the way back. So, but I realized that the person at the end of the cul-de-sac, they had like a driveway going across the lawn to go over to the next street. So you could get out from there or across from their lawn into the street. God make me went on that cul-de-sac that day before, because I would have been dead. I would have been dead. Those guys chased me down into that cul-de-sac. And I remember I said, you know what? But before I started driving, I look at my window, look at my doors, make sure they were locked, make sure I get enough gas. I said, and I went right back into that mode of training to drive a police car. I said, I know my car is going to be damaged and everything, but I'm making sure that I'm going to live a life. I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die. I refuse to die today. I refuse to. So I went through that person, went across that person's lawn. They didn't know how to get across. So somehow when I reached out onto the cross street, passing parallel to them, then they saw me. They keep going. So they never went. You had other cars that following me from my dad's house. He lives in Middletown, which is like half an hour from where I live in Newcastle. You had Corvettes, it was a white Corvette, remember, following me from my dad's house all the way to my driveway and turn back. So you definitely follow me. There had occasions when my mother my mother was in the car with me like 3 times, mommy and my daughter. Cars cut us off. This guy I saw he came across on my left, and I said, he's acting weird. So he came across, cut me off on my left, went ahead of me, put his car like that. And I said, maybe he want to pass, okay. So I said, let me slow down to see what he's going to do. As soon as I almost reached to his car, lucky thing I was paying attention, he just come right in front of us. Was me and my mom. I could not call Newcastle County Police because according to Laura Brooks, some of these officers were doing favors for her, right?
Okay.
So they're talking about stress and me being mentally ill. You know how much stress these people put me through? You know how much stress dealing with all of this? You know what it is? That every time you come out your house, you have to be watching over your shoulder. You're driving, watching over your shoulder. And then when all of this went to the Supreme Court, so they know, right? They know what was going on. They have people who knew what was going on. People in my neighborhood could talk. You know how I end up stopping, getting some of them to stop coming to my house? I was trying to print this picture of the thing that I print out. Yeah, I had a sheet roll, a piece of sheet rock in my garage. And I said, Mom, I get an idea, just come to me. She said, what? I said, something just tell me, go get a black spray paint and spray paint that sheet rock. My house is being stopped. Look out for lingering car. I went to Home Depot and I got a black spray paint and I spray paint that sheet rock and I put it up in front of my house. That would ease up some of them. But some of the other people, they didn't care. It eased down the crowd, but they didn't stop them. I guess that's probably the police officer, because his vehicle, the same black truck that he keep telling me, want to know if I get pictures of, that he was just concerned about. He didn't care about the other trucks, but just this black truck, just this black truck that he was concerned about, right? This vehicle frequently. You had all of this going on. Then also I made a complaint. The judge's bailiff, I think his name is Bruce Atkins. One time I was in BJ's in Newcastle, and I was talking to my mother's sister, my aunt, and I was telling my aunt, I said, this guy keep following me, but he don't have anything in his cart. So I keep walking, and I said, everywhere I go, he keep following me. So she was like, stop, go back to the front of the store.
As I was walking back to the front of, I guess he probably heard when my aunt was tell me to stop and turn back and go to the front of the store. And I went back to the front of the store and I'm watching. At first, I didn't know it was him. I'm watching this guy and I was like, this guy have a familiar face. Where do I know him from? Where do I said, did I work with him at corrections? Did I work with him at the police? Where do I know this guy? And I said, oh, I know you. You are the judge's bailiff. Before I said that, he was out of the store.
Oh.
Even that, I made a report. They shut everything down. So when they want to keep saying that I disappear and leave my daughter, let them talk about all the things that they did to me and my mom. Let them talk to do this. If it wasn't for my family, I would have gone crazy. If it wasn't for people praying over me, I would have gone crazy. You know what it is they put me through for 3 years, and you have the police involved? At first I regret being a police officer. For know that you train with integrity and people who train like you have no integrity, abusing the power and the position, just like what Natalie Haskins is doing. Judge Natalie Haskins. That's why she needs to be removed. Because now you're stopping me from getting my daughter. She haven't given me no chance to say, okay, I give this mom a chance to go to the store next to the center with her daughter for lunch. Or I give the mother opportunity. What can she say to say the court is at risk with me having my daughter? What have she done? What opportunity have they given me after they did what they did to me? And then you want to say that I'm mentally ill.
Well, on top of Laura Brooks needing a psych eval and also being a child psychological abuser, have you ever filed a motion to disqualify her?
I did file to have Judge Natalie Haskins removed. And she said that she's not recusing herself from the case. She's not going to recuse herself. She don't do nothing. And they had her from the case from 2018 till her divorce till now.
Well, she's also, well, she should be recusing herself, but also Laura Brooks should be disqualified if she's pulling this stuff.
Everything. Yes, even in the DFS, when it's time come for DFS investigation, because Laura Brooks used to work with DFS. So they were pulling all these strings with people that they know, because all the investigation that I've done against me for saying that I abusing my daughter and all of that stuff, they don't have no proof. I have like over 10 letters. 10 or more letters from DFS that I was cleared from all these allegations and investigation that they have done. And they haven't investigated anything that I stated, right? My daughter here was cut out, right? This time my daughter was complaining that family members on the father side was touching her inappropriately. At one time my daughter came, she was saying, my showing me that it hurts down there really bad. And she took her doll, and my mom could tell, she told my mom, one of the family members, she used her doll, said they hold her upside down like this and beat her on her private part. She said, Mommy, it hurts so bad. So bad. I even bring that up in court to Natalie Haskins, and they have done nothing. They said when I take my daughter to the hospital that I'm taking her too often, that I'm causing psychological damage to my daughter, psychological emotions to my daughter, and abusing the system. So they stopped me from making medical decisions. They had a nurse at New Morris named Lisa Kelly, who encouraged my daughter's father when she was crying out for her private parts, it hurting, that he should file a DFS case against me, said that I'm psychologically abusing the system. The nurse did that. The nurse, Lisa Kelly from New Morris Hospital, did that. He have an attorney. Why are you advising him? I came to the hospital with an issue with my daughter. Maybe one time they examine her, but they never examine her. So when they write that she been examined, like she was under multiple rape, whatever. You're a nurse, the thing.
Yeah, I never advised.
But they never did it. They never did it. Once they did it.
But they so now he's the one taking her all the time to the ER.
Right?
But it's okay for him, but not for you.
But now she do have an issue. She keep having all these issues with infections that is not being resolved. And it's to the point that you're taking her to the emergency for the last, over the 2 months, 3 times she went to the emergency room. So you have all of these things that I want to make sure, let me cover some of these things so my mom could, even with the ADA, I had Francesca Armato
Yes.
was supporting me. She followed the rules, contact the court ADA and let her know that she'd be coming to court with me and stuff like that. The Supreme Court, one of the same judges that declined my child support, wrote back Miss Armato and said that it's up to the judge to have her. And basically what they were telling her in the letter that she have to explain what type of issue I have. Why do I have an ADA advocate? So, and they don't have that in the court. They don't have ADA accommodations for anyone in Delaware. That's what she was told.
You're disabled.
They don't have no ADA advocate. But what Francesca was explaining to me is not only that somebody have to be physically, because all of this, they don't, she was explaining all the codes and laws that she knows. Like you mentally, all of this, mentally, emotionally abusing somebody, all of this come under the ADA. However code they follow, all that stuff they were doing. However, she knows all it. Like I said, I'm not the ADA person, so I don't know all the stuff, but she had written down everything. But yes, she never got an opportunity to come in. So, okay, so I had to have my visit after that court hearing that I didn't show up for on the thing. And wasn't out my daughter life for the whole year that they're talking, because I used to still visit. I used to drive all the way from New York to Delaware to visit my daughter every single weekend. And I have toll receipts to prove it. Every weekend I used to make sure I drive. I just didn't went to that court thing. So when they wanted me to do supervised visit, I didn't go. So I had to get my visit reinstated. So they wanted me to do, I'm not a second mental health evaluation. So I had a psychiatrist from New York, did it. It was forwarded to the court. They didn't have no issues with it. They had no concerns with it. They didn't at the time. The judge didn't have no concerns with it. And it was forwarded to her by the counselor that I have now, forward the mental health evaluation to the court. And all, because that's what the judge requested, that I had a mental health evaluation done. This was the second mental health evaluation. This was the second mental health evaluation. The first mental health evaluation was a doctor from Delaware. They never questioned that woman. But because she didn't write that I'm crazy, they just push it aside. Because Laura Brooks so bent on saying that I'm crazy, they push that aside. They never question her. They claim that why I have a counselor. Like the psychiatrist was explaining to me, she said, you have a lot going on. All these people come into your car and all this custody and all this stuff is very stressful. Start talking to a counselor. I know you talk to your family. I know you're having the support of your family, but talk to somebody different that understand and you could bounce. So that's how I end up with a counselor.
Yeah, you have to go to counseling in order to deal with people that need to go to counseling.
Yeah, exactly. So she said, Judge Natalie Haskins said, once I do the mental health evaluation, and this was done through a law firm that did it for me. A law firm did it, had the visit reinstated. Laura Brooks claimed that she never got nothing from the law firm. Patricia Ware claimed that they didn't have nothing from the law firm.
Well, that's convenient.
So they filed a motion saying that they didn't get time to answer the motion and all of that stuff. And they didn't know and they don't agree for me to get unsupervised visit. And so they start doing, they sent in the motion. And basically I was excluded because they start passing emails. And I was like, wait a minute. You basically having a case without me there. And that's exactly what they did on the emails, passing the email. And two, they did that because you remember, if they actually have a court date, they didn't want Francesca to come to court either. The ADA.
So they were blocking the ADA advocate, Fran.
Exactly.
That's typical.
Exactly. But this is our order. This is the first order that she said if I do the mental health evaluation and everything, I will get my daughter, right?
Never happened.
Never happened. 1 year after, some of the things that I see Natalie Haskins sign off on, Judge Natalie Haskins, I just think she just signed. I don't think she reads sometimes. I really and truly don't believe she reads. But
No.
the one is, because she just signed off on everything. And also, I have the email that the mental health evaluation was sent to the court. So I have a copy of the email.
This is just what you have been through is just so unbelievable. It is believable because I've heard stories like yours where your ex is controlling everything. And how much, you know what, the big question is, how much
How much
is
is
he
he
really
paying?
paying Laura Brooks?
Yes.
What's the deal there? Come
If he's
on.
paying, if he's
Just
paying,
a mom. Even with the DFS, she brag about this girl, Kenosha Thompson is a therapist, right? My daughter had all type of welts on her foot. She went back, she interviewed me, went back and tell my ex everything. So I know she and Laura Brooks is friend because Laura Brooks bragged, so she couldn't wait for her to come and testify against me in court. And I said, yeah, I can't wait for her to come either. But she never came. Just like she asked for Jason and Swati to be the mediator in her case. And if they look back in the records, because since that they're talking about they're going to throw away information if the Department of Justice come to investigate everything. So Jason and Swati was picked by Laura Brooks because she claimed that he was less experienced. She didn't want Sharon Page because Sharon Page to mediate anything because she was more experienced than Jason Swati. Then I see the judge, she hear me? Then I see the judge right saying that the discovery that I refused to give Laura Brooks my mental health evaluation. I said Laura Brooks already is an attorney. She know what to do, request the records from Christiana Hospital. She said no, she don't want the records from Christiana Hospital. She want my records from New York. I said, well, it's the same procedure she have to follow. She said, well, they don't have jurisdiction over New York. I can just give it to them. And I said, hell's no. Hell's no. I don't have a mental health issue. No. And you're not going to get my records just like that. I'm not volunteering anything to you. But you see the code two laws which don't substantiate what they did, why they deny me from having unsupervised visit. Because if they go back and read that title, Delaware title 13-728 said even though a parent have joint and sole custody, that parent have the right, unless it's domestic violence involved, have the right and to be in the right to the life and activity consistently with the child. Encourage, permit frequent contact, phone calls. We have my Wizard app. I can have phone calls with my daughter. I'm meeting with my daughter once every Sunday, right? And then on the order, that's why I said the judge don't read. She said my visit will decrease to 2, decrease bi-weekly. I'm visiting every Sunday for an hour. So how is my visit decreasing bi-weekly, twice bi-weekly, 2 times bi-weekly?
Oh, this is terrible. This judge has got to recuse herself.
And then she said, my daughter, she interviewed my daughter, and when she asked my daughter if she want to come by me, if she want to come and visit my house, she started crying and saying that she's nervous. She's nervous to come into my house, or nervous even to me watching a soccer game with her and all of this stuff. And then I also saw that they mentioned that, my daughter said that I'm mean and rude. And then the supervisor at the center said I'm mean and rude. Where in any law that say that somebody being mean and rude have to do with anything of you not getting custody of your child? Who could be more disrespectful more than Tia Tucker? I saw that woman once this year, and I haven't said anything to her. Absolutely nothing. But I said they don't have nothing. They want to fabricate a story that who they want to portray me to be. But that's who they are. I am confident of who I am, and they're not going to shake me.
I really believe these visitation centers want to alienate the child from the parents.
And exactly that's what she's doing, because when they asked if she is comfortable with me visiting my child, she said no. What's the reason why you say no? Because you said I'm disrespectful to you. I'm not your child. I'm almost 50. I'm not your child. I'm my mother's child. But you see, when you're speaking up, for things people doing wrong, and you calling them out on their wrong, they don't like that. You're rude, you're disrespectful. I don't care.
Well, they make up things.
Actually, they have a rally in I think it's sometime in June, or going in front of the White House. I am going to be a part of that rally.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the contempt order, like all this contempt order that I filed in court, everything was denied, right? Even the ROCO, she said that she denied my ROCO because I didn't pay the transcript fee. I asked the staff if I didn't pay the transcript fee. The staff told me the transcript fee, if you didn't pay it, you're just not going to get a transcript, but that's not going to decline you from having a hearing. So she declined all these ROCO for my child support, because all of this she write in the custody order. That why she trying to justify why she canceled the ROCO, but it's 3 ROCOs you cancel. Why you cancel all 3 of them?
Well,
Why
see,
until now I can't have a proper modification of my case?
Judge Natalie Haskins is completely mishandling your case and the relationship you should have with your daughter. She needs to recuse herself, and Laura Brooks needs to be disqualified.
Right? So all of this they were doing that they don't tell people they were doing, that they didn't tell people. And that Newcastle County, one of the police officers, I think his office knew. I tell him, you have a very unique name that I would never ever forget. He came with my ex-husband to get his stuff, and I said I would like to have my keys. He said when he finished getting the stuff, he's gonna think. And they were going on to like more than half an hour. So let me tell you something. I was trained just like you. If you bring somebody to get their stuff, they have more than 10, 20 minutes. Get the few stuff and get out. The other stuff, they have to make arrangement how they're going to get it. The other stuff, if they feel they left stuff in that premises.
Mm-hmm.
He said, okay, I'll give you the key when you get his stuff. When my ex-husband finished getting his stuff, he said, I'm not giving you no keys. This is the Newcastle County police officer. I'm not giving you your keys. He never gave me my keys. We in 2025, this was going on 2019. Never gave me my house keys back. Then 4 days, he came with a whole bunch of police officers. Like 40 of Newcastle police officer was in my house. He came for his stuff. Like, what stuff you came with? All you came with is with your few clothes and your toothbrush. Why 40 police officers in my house?
Well, because you're so dangerous, and that's what they call us. That's
but the active weapon
everybody.
was in the house. The only weapons that I have was departmental issue weapons, which I had already returned once I left the department. Once you quit, you have to return all the equipment. I returned all those things, and I didn't have a personal weapon. My ex had a gun that was unregistered that he bought that he didn't register yet.
But that's okay for him,
right? Yeah, that's okay for him. But the weapons that I had was departmental issue weapon that was already returned. Why for the police? So when I turn and I tell one of them, I said, you guys overstepping, because if he came for his stuff, why for the police in my house? You have time to just let him get his stuff for whatever, and he could make the arrangement, like I said, and get his other stuff if he feel that he'll leave something else in the house. Then when I said that, then they all back up like, wait a minute, she was a police officer? But because I wasn't on the street with them, because I got injured at the last day of the police academy. Mm-hmm. See, I have the surgery right here.
Mm-hmm. Now, so just to refresh the audience's memory, when was the last time you saw your daughter?
I saw her this Sunday.
Okay.
I saw her this Sunday, right? Because I visit at Child Inc. Center, Visitation Center, per hour every Sunday.
And what do they charge you?
$14 and $14. But if my mom should come, I think they have to pay $50 or $100 or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Then also they said that one other thing before my mom come on, because I don't want her. I know my aunt is trying to come on too, but I guess she's getting issues coming on. They said a good faith letter that I didn't sign from Child Inc. That letter was sent to 101. I never give Tia Tucker an address of 101 Foster Avenue. Okay. Foster Avenue. So, okay, I know you have to go, so I'm going to let my mom wrap up quick. So let my mom get a chance and then.
Okay.
Yep.
Hi, Maryann.
Hello, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm happy too because like I'm like wondering like do something have to happen to my granddaughter before the state of Delaware overlook this case? My Her father is claiming that my granddaughter is so afraid of me. This is her baby before they took her away.
Mm.
Like she had some institution that we're not gonna see her again. So she said, Nana, you take care of her
Oh.
until I come back. This painting she sent for me the other day.
Mm.
But every family member for me that my granddaughter love, he have an issue. She's afraid. But the only person that my granddaughter is afraid since I know her father came into her life,
Mm-hmm.
he's afraid of him. I was there when she was running in the Newcastle Police Center not to go to him. She's running to go in the bushes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She's running to go in the bushes. One day she was to go back. She under the chair. We could not get her out.
Mm-hmm.
My other grandchildren were there. They were crying with her too.
Oh.
And you see this baby, Maryann?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. All her babies, she said her baby, she took care of them. They had to be naked.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
They had to be naked. And she had a big adult teeth. But as my daughter said, I'm going to demonstrate what she said because anything she go to tell me, she said, Nana. So she had to get my full attention.
Mm-hmm.
She said her brother held her like this. And he was.
Mm-hmm. And the
So
judge doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
you don't care? You so afraid of my family hurting my granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have family members that she's complaining.
About.
But whenever it goes, she's a liar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She's a liar.
And
She's cried so much from since her father came back in her life. Like one day, like I wanted to run across the car park and took her out and pull her out of it. I know she's crying.
Oh, Nana, help,
Yeah.
Nana, help, Nana, help,
No.
Yep.
Nana, help me, help, Nana.
Yeah, and Marineka, I remember you saying that on another podcast that she
Yep.
ran into the bushes.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
and the
And
judge
then
doesn't care.
And this went on for a couple months, and nobody
Right.
intervened. Yeah, I'm crazy. When I say that I'm mentally crazy, yes, that went on for a whole year, or probably two, right, Mom?
yes.
These personality disorders will always call out the kid is afraid of you. Everyone
Mhm.
needs to know this. Everyone listening to this, please don't go into family court. Try not to go into these family court systems because they will pit a parent against the other one because the attorney wants to win, drag out the case and make more money. It's all
7
about
years my case going on now. 7
But
years
then
going on to 7. Yep.
take a pin, Marineka. After the video with her running across the park, Natalie Haskins stopped. She don't want to see any video.
Yes.
well then she's also a child abuser too. I am so disgusted with these individuals.
And my last court hearing, because she even said that I refused to give discovery information. Laura Brooks emailed me and said if I don't send the information how she wanted, she's gonna have me sanctioned, she's gonna have me contempt to court and all of that, and she did, and she's gonna have the case canceled. I showed up to court January 30th for the case. Nobody was there. When I went down to the records office to find out about the case, they themselves didn't even know. So the supervisor went upstairs. You see, the lady write on a paper. See, Maryann? She wrote on a paper. So that's how I know that I had a case at 9 o'clock on February 7th, 2025.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I get my notice.
Okay. On a sticky note.
Yes. But Mom, I want you to talk how you feel about those cars because my mom had a lot of sleepless nights too.
But yeah, I used to be like a security. I could not sleep because every time you look through the window, I'm like, if you're gonna wanna kill my daughter, you're gonna kill me first. I live my life.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you watch through the window, there's somebody there.
Mm-hmm.
And they're so bold that they don't move even though you watch at them.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one day we were going for a walk, and this same white car in the picture, like they had not expected somebody to come out, so they turned in a cul-de-sac. If anybody was coming out, there would have been a head-on collision.
Mhm.
Next time you watch, there was a woman and a man, but they were at the end of the other yard. They're there. Anytime you watch, it's like,
Mhm.
Always
I'm there.
somebody.
Yeah. Always somebody. One day we went out, come back, there's this red car parked across the street in front. So my daughter reversed and things. So he still didn't move. So I went and I took his license note.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
he's like, "Oh, why you taking my license note? I'm not watching your house."
Mommy, don't
You
say
know,
what you tell man. Don't say my mom
um,
cursed him out.
no, whether the house, whether we live in there, the house.
Yeah.
I'm not watching, me and my friends just having a conversation. So why
Mhm.
your friends, they're having a conversation?
Look how much empty spots. Why,
Yeah.
Brian? Yep.
Mhm, mhm.
So this went on for a long time. So when they want to talk and do stuff, let it tell people what they did. hmm
Yeah.
So now I don't have my daughter. So I have to continue after visiting for a whole year, supervised visit. They want to continue the supervised visit on, I guess, indefinitely. So since they want to play stupid games, let's go. Let the whole world know what they were doing to me.
I'm
And they and you know how much mental health evaluation they asked for, and the one they claim that okay, forget the one in New York. They had the psychiatrist here that did the first mental health evaluation and never asked that woman to testify.
Mhm.
She made recommendations for workers to come and evaluate how my daughter interact with me and how she interact with the dad. None of our recommendation was taken into consideration because they bent, just like what they write this court order, that they bent on me not having my daughter. They bent on things that they're going to punish me for me not having my child, taking my child, my only child from me. By all means necessary, they're thinking.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry my aunt couldn't come on because my aunt have visits with me too. My aunt used to frequently visit with me before my mom come and stay with me for 2 years, right?
Mhm.
My aunt could tell you when we had her dad at one point had phone calls, but now you gave him phone calls because he claimed that he can't have phone calls. My daughter screamed from the top of her lung till she fall asleep because she didn't want to talk to him. She didn't know him. He didn't have a relationship with her, but he didn't have to go counseling. He didn't have to go through all of what they put me through. Never. But you put me through all of this, and still, after a year of supervised visit, I still can't have my child.
You are the target parent, and I hope people are listening because this is happening globally to parents.
Mommy, there's anything else that you want to say?
Not really, but it was really scary because everywhere we go, we have to be on alert. If we go to the park, there's a car over there watching us.
Mhm,
Yeah, it's really scary, Marianne. And to
mhm.
see that is going on
For so long.
for so long. They talk about third world countries, but wow, I know in my
Right.
country this would have never happened.
Oh my goodness. I'm
Yeah.
I'm glad you both came on to speak out and to warn other parents that this can happen.
Yep.
And if anyone wants to get a hold of Marineka, they can come through me at dismantlingfamilycourtcorruption.com. Don't jump off, okay?
Okay.
Slam the Gavel's a podcast. Help the public understand what really goes on in these courtrooms. I'm your host, Maryann Petri, and you can find me on Spotify, YouTube. Please like and subscribe, Apple iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google, and other platforms. Feel free to buy me a coffee to help keep this podcast going. And I thank you, Marineka Bowman. And Grandma, thank you so very much for speaking out.
You're welcome, Marianne.
Marianne.
We are all going through that struggle. It's like so much stress on the family. But we will be there to support Marineka.
Thank you, Mom.
You're welcome.
Thank you.